So today we'll talk about property taxes and the cost of a house, right? Now, one of the things that you got to understand is that the cost of maintaining an apartment and a house are pretty similar, right? Um, and the biggest question of owning a house is what additional costs would you have for owning a house? Often you can rent an apartment and you can own a house. When you own a house, there are many other responsibilities. That's one of the things that you got to understand. Now, the key thing that I want you to recognize is that eventually we're going to talk about a thing called mortgages, right? And these mortgages are either paid bi-weekly to the bank for 20 to 25 years or monthly, okay? Now, that is something that you just need to understand, right? If you're buying something from the bank, you got to pay it back. And we call those things mortgages, and those mortgages are paid over time. Okay. So it's a mortgage. It's for a house. When it's for a car, it's called a loan. Okay. Now, the faster you reduce the principal, i.e. the amount of money that we have for this stuff, the less money you owe in interest, right? Now, mortgage payments are almost equal to what we consider as monthly rent, right? Basically, it usually is better to buy than to rent, right? You just got to recognize that buying a house gives you a thing called equity. And equity is known as the property's value, right? When you rent an apartment, you don't get any equity yourself. In fact, the only person that gets the equity when you go and pay your rent in the apartment is the owner of the apartment building, okay? Let's go and talk about the costs of a house. There are many different costs that we're going to look at throughout this unit. And one of the costs that you're going to look at is called a down payment, a closing cost, and other things like paying for like upkeep of your home, right? But one of the most important taxes that you have to pay in anywhere in Canada is called your property tax. Now, that is if you own the home, right? This tax helps pays for services such as public transit, education, garbage collection, emergency search services, and social services in your community. The amount of tax is based on your house's lot size and other municipal rules such as the location in the city. Maybe if you're in the center of the city, you're going to be looking for more. Now, here is an example of how we calculate property tax. So let's focus on this. You're going to be doing some questions based on this today. All right. Property taxes are percentages of the assessed values of a home, right? So this is where someone within the city or the municipality decides on what your house is going to pay in taxes based on its size, and they do some sort of calculation in order to make it fair. Now, it's different for different places within Ontario. Sometimes the property taxes are very low. Other times the property taxes are very high. The property taxes are based on the value of your home in the year that you're paying your tax. So, for example, ready? We got this problem here. Calculate the property tax to the nearest cent based on the percentage of the property value. So imagine I got 1.05% and my house currently is worth $265,000. Your region will send you that bill, right? They'll tell you how much it is and give you a certain number of days to pay it. And you have to make sure you got to pay it and know how to calculate it. Now, if it's 1.05% and 265,000, this is how we do it. We can either use our calculator or do calculations such as the one that we have below, right? We take 1.05% of 265,000, okay? And when we take 1% of 265,000, 1.05 of 265,000, what we're actually saying is that we're taking 1.05 and we're dividing by 100 and then we're timesing by 265,000. And we end up with 2,782.50. Now, that is your property tax. And you'll have to do a couple of those today in order to make sure you understand how it comes about. Okay? All right, now let's go on to the next concept. The next major concept that we got to look at is housing budgets, right? Imagine you have Martin and Patty. They own a brand new home and have the following costs, right? They're going to pay $243 a month. They basically have a mortgage of $623 for every 2 weeks, right? The mortgage life insurance is $256.34 a year, and the taxes are $3,500 a year. And the phone that you have in your house costs you $43.34 a month. So we need to find the monthly cost to maintain and pay their bills monthly for their home. So in order to do this, you got to take a look at each one of these individual parts, okay? You've got the monthly amount. You've got the mortgage every 2 weeks. You've got the amount every year. You've got taxes, right? Okay, and the phone per month. Now, everything that isn't in months, we have to convert into a monthly calculation, and I'll show you how we do that, okay? Let's begin. Now, the first 3 items that we have to focus on, right, are the fact that these 3 items, which are, as you can see here, mortgage, the mortgage life insurance, and the taxes, okay? Those are all paid in either weeks or years. We have to convert those into monthly amounts by either timesing by a number or dividing by a number, okay? Now, when we do this, for taking something and bringing it up to months, we're going to times the amount by 2, because if you think about it, there are 4 weeks in a month, and 2 weeks of the month have been taken. So we have to times our mortgage by 2 to figure out its amount. Now, for the mortgage life insurance, since it's $256 a year, we have to divide it by 12. And for the number of the amount of taxes that we pay for year, i.e. property tax, what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to divide it by 12 to figure out our monthly payment for each of those items. So now let's zoom out and look at the overall calculation for this problem. Now, here it is, just like we said. They pay the mortgage every 2 weeks. So Martin and Patty pay 26 payments, and there are 52 weeks in a year, right? So here is the thing. We need to express it as a monthly payment. So a monthly mortgage is 623 times 2, which gives us this amount. And then the monthly life insurance needs to be divided by 12 like we described above, which gives us this. Then we calculate our monthly taxes. We take the property tax that they've assessed for the year, divide by 12, and this is how much we need to pay a month in order to pay the property tax. Then we need to calculate the total monthly cost, which is just the addition of all of the costs put in monthly form. And we end up with $1845.37. So therefore, the monthly cost of maintaining the home is $1845.37. All right, that's it. So those are the skills that I want you to recognize that you need to do for a house. Okay, you need to be able to calculate percentages of mortgages in order to figure out your property tax, and then also be able to calculate your total monthly expenses or yearly expenses, depending. Okay, have a good day.